Welcome to part 2 of the Open Spine Art Nouveau junk journal. If you've missed part 1 where we came this far, you can find that video linked below. This is a Digital Collage Club design team project, so that's where this image is from. You can find all the links to all the images that I'm using linked below as well, but please keep in mind, in case you're not familiar with the Digital Collage Club, it is a membership-based club, so you cannot download individual links. You have a membership either for a year or for a lifetime with amazing prices, and then you can download anything you want as often as you want. It's really a good deal, so check out all the links below to look at that if you haven't had a look already. So last time I left off saying that I didn't want to glue anything down yet because I wanted to look at this with fresh eyes the next day to see if I would still like it, if I would have any other ideas. And the first thing that comes to mind is I want to change the color of this fabric here that we have underneath. So I also want it in this green or in this green. It won't be the same green, but it will match. So that's what I want to do with the front and the back here. I also found in my stash these two things. So one is an ink spray by Dilutions. I've had this forever. It's from Ranger as well. And the color is Dirty Martini. And then I have this high flow acrylic golden paint. It's called Green Gold. Maybe I'll just remix the two. I will probably add some coffee as well to get it nice and dark. Let's just experiment. Oh, this works really well. I hardly ever use sprays. I don't have many, but I don't know. It's not something I tend to go for. And I don't need it all to be one color. I want it to have like different nuances. This is pretty much the same green, it looks like. So use whatever you have. I mean, there's so many things you can try on fabric, just like on paper. There's no reason why these things shouldn't work on a fabric. We're not going to wash the fabric, so I don't have to worry about it being permanent. I really suggest wearing gloves. These things really stain your hands. And then we'll add some coffee to make it nice and dark. And then we'll just ball it up to make it all mix. Now this is a very different green than my other one. It's much lighter. It's much more of a juicy green, which I don't want. It does not fit to my cover. I know you can't see it at the moment, but I cannot touch it now with these hands. So I need to make it darker somehow. Here we can see in comparison, this now doesn't look green at all, it looks brown compared to this. So what I'm going to try is adding some Vintage Photo Distress Oxide Re-Inker. This is the darkest one I have. And then I'll spray some more coffee to make that move a little more. I feel like a little kid who's playing with mud. Okay, it has definitely changed the color. Yep, now it's much more what we want, or what I want, maybe not what you want. My goodness, look at all this. Okay, yeah, this is much more the color that will work with the cover. So I am going to dry these. They're going to get lighter again, and then hopefully they will match with the rest. I have these strips of the same fabric left from my eco dyeing experiments. You can't really see it on camera, but they are fairly yellow, which I really don't like. Since I have this puddle left here, I'm just going to dye these. That's perfect. While this is drying here on my grungy newspaper, I can already tell that it's going to be such a different color to this one, which isn't bad, but now when we have this peeking out, this one seems too pale in comparison, you know what I mean? So I think I need to do the same thing with this one, which is to spray some of this and add some of this as well to make it a little more green and a little bit more intensive. I do have another piece here because remember we cut this in half, so maybe I will just do it with this one, and if all fails I still have this one. While the fabric is drying, let's start thinking about our signatures. So as you can see, I've already prepared some papers here. These are all coffee dyed. They look different because they are from different batches. These are obviously the darkest ones, and they have these very cool designs on them, which are from ink. I will link these below for you. I have these in digital form as well. Then I have some lighter ones where I put some lace on top. So I have 3 of those. Then I have 3 just very regular coffee dyed papers, nothing fancy. Then I have 3 that have kind of an interesting texture. Not easy to see on all of them. Here you can see it. So that was also by just laying something on top, and that gave me a kind of a cool design. So maybe go through your things that you have at home. Like I think these were meant for placemats. Just see what textures you have and do some coffee dyeing experiments. This here is a wallpaper that I coffee dyed, and these are ledger paper where the ink has bled, as you can see, the original ink. I also want to add some eco-dyed papers. I want to add 1 per signature, and I have printed these double-sided. So these are from my recent eco-dyeing experiments. You can also find these in my shop. I will link these for you below. And I will also link the video with the experiments so that you can try your own if you haven't already. It's a lot of fun because you never know what you're going to get. Then I also have like some random papers here that I might or might not include. I don't know yet. I also took out some book pages. I have double pages here from a plant book in German. So I have 3 of these. And I took out 3 plant images from another book. These are double-sided, so I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to add these, or if I'm going to add these. We'll see. And last but certainly not least, we have the digital images from the Digital Collage Club. So these are some images I chose from the Art Nouveau journal kit. Again, all links are below. I did not print all of them. I just chose a few of them. I printed them smaller. I think this might be 75%. And then I tore them with my tearing ruler, so they have the rough edge. And I edged all of them with walnut stain. Obviously, I tore them in half as well, because my idea is to put them on the coffee dyed papers, to glue them on like this. It would have been really smart to print these double-sided as well, but I wasn't thinking when I was printing them, so that didn't happen. But that's okay, there's always a way around it. I have already cut these a little more narrow to fit the size of my cover. And now I'm just going to make 3 signatures, starting off with these as base pages. So I'll make sure each signature has 1 of each type of coffee dyed paper. So that's 4 pages for now per signature. I'll put one of these in each. Then I'll add one of the eco prints in each. I still need to ink around these as well. Or do I? Maybe I won't. No, actually I won't do that. Not everything needs to be inked. But I think these colors are absolutely gorgeous with our cover. I think they fit perfectly. I think this should get a center spot. Put this on the outside of the second signature. And I'll put this one in the center again. I do want to add one of these to each signature. These are just leftover scraps. I think these were left over from my Urban Nature junk journal. And you know what? I'm not even going to fold them straight. Actually, I'll fold them in a diagonal. Just because that will be a little bit more interesting. Here. See, and then we have it just like that. Yeah, that makes more for a more interesting page. I'll just tear this. Then let's also add these book pages. I also don't just want to put them in as they are. Maybe we can make some interesting folds. Okay, I think that's enough papers because we still need to add these, and these are going to add some bulk. And then of course we have ephemera to add as well. So this is really already quite a lot. So now I'm going to go through each signature and add some of these pages by just gluing them on. I've added all the 15 prints that I had, pretty much randomly, trying to somehow distribute them more or less evenly. I didn't really count the pages or anything that I have in between. I just kind of did that however that felt right. Some I adhered a little diagonally for a little more interest, but most of them actually are straight. This one's diagonal. I don't want to over embellish this journal, but of course I do want the pages to have character, which they are getting already by just adding different types of papers, by doing things with the papers. And we'll definitely do some more fun things. By the way, there's an excellent video by Louise where she shows you what you can do with digital papers to add more interest and to make them more your own. So I will link that video for you below. It's definitely worth watching. Yeah, and there's one more here and there's one in the back. So still a lot left to do, but it's a great start. The next thing I'm going to do to add more character is adding some sewing with my sewing machine. Now, for all those that don't have a sewing machine or don't feel comfortable sewing on paper, you can either do some hand stitching, which would be really, really nice and special, or you can do faux stitching with just a black marker, something like this, maybe like a fine liner, and you can just make your marks, crosses, or like a running stitch, whatever you want. Even cute little shapes like a flower or a heart or whatever, or you can just doodle. That would be cute too, or even paint on the pages. There is so much you can do. I like added texture, so that's why I want to take these to my sewing machine, and I will show you what they look like once I've done that. I'm back from sewing. You can see a lot of threads dangling here. This is the first journal where I'm leaving the threads long. I figure I can still cut them short if they annoy me. So let me just quickly show you what I did. I also added some random scraps to some of the pages, not too many. And I didn't make a cluster before. I just sewed them on right through the page. So that makes it really quick. Didn't add too much. This one I just went around the whole page. Here I just sewed down this edge here and added some more random scrap papers. Here is just some messy stitching. I use zigzag stitch for everything. Yep, that's the first signature. Then I just sewed this here. I sewed down this fold, then I added some scraps here. There's some wallpaper in between there. Here I just sewed around the page, and again I added some scraps. Here I just sewed around this part of the page. Here's some sewing with another scrap cluster. So that's signature 2. And lastly, here we have another little cluster here. Here again, I just sewed around the whole page. Here I sewed on another cluster. As well as here. This is actually some packaging paper from Louise. There's that other side, and that's it. So not a whole lot, but some character. The next thing I want to do is add some more stenciling with this same stencil that we have on the cover. But instead of doing it with the texture paste, I'm going to spray it. And I am super lucky because I have been gifted a few of these iZink dye sprays by Honey. Honey, thank you again so much. Even though this is a French brand, yep, made in France, pretty much the only place these can be found is in the US, maybe Canada, I don't know. Honey actually ordered these from the US, so I think it took a while. And of course, then you have customs and shipping costs and everything. So I am so grateful. I think these are really cool because they are very highly pigmented. So this is what I'm going to try. This is my first time trying these. They are apparently fast drying. So I don't want to, again, do too much of it. And maybe I should test it first because I don't know if it's going to go through the page. Okay, let me test it on a page first where it doesn't matter if it goes through or not. Because if I do it where there is an image on the other side, I would not want to destroy that image. So, let's see. I think I should shake it first. And I think I should wear gloves. This is the color Gold Mine. It says fast drying, no clogging. I don't know if it's permanent or if it's water soluble. We're just going to go for it. I don't want a perfect print like on the cover. I just want more like a random thing. Ooh, that's nice. Let's see if it went through. Yeah, it went through. So good thing I didn't do it where there was an image on the other side. So here's, I don't know, can you see the shimmer? It's beautiful. And now since we have the ink on the one side, we could just put that on the other side. Hopefully also get a nice design. Yes, oh, love it. So I dried this quickly with my heat gun, and on this side, thankfully you see nothing through. It's actually obvious because this is glued on top. Here we can see a little bit coming through, but actually not so bad. So I want to do that on a couple more pages in each signature. This is a good one. And then here I will do the same thing. Yes. Next, I'm going to take some of my other stencils that I had considered for the cover with some leaves, as well as this one, which I think also could have an Art Deco feeling or Art Nouveau feeling to it. And this time I'm going to apply some color by using my Forest Moss Distress ink with a blending brush. This again just gives a different effect and adds some more interest. Again, I'm not looking for perfect patterns. I'll just do a few pages in each signature and I'll vary the stencil. And lastly, I want to add some Distress Oxide Seedless Preserves because I think it's fairly close to some of the colors that we have in the images here. And rather than doing stenciling again, I think I'm just going to, I don't know, see what happens, I guess. So I dried this. It did not bleed through to the other side. But let's see what it looks like when we add some drops of water. See the oxidized effect. It's always interesting. I unfortunately don't have a spray bottle where I can just get like individual drops. If I would use this, then I would just get a fine mist. So that's a bit of an issue. Let's dab it away. Now let's see if it's worth the effort. So we can see it here and here. It's not a huge effect on this paper, but of course every paper is going to give you a different effect. So I just want to add a bit of this color on some of the pages. As I said, I don't want to go crazy. What we could also try is to take another stencil. So this is one I haven't used in here yet. And then go over that. And then spritz that a little bit. And yeah, we have a little bit here, but that's, I think, more because it was wet. But if we now do this, we get a very, very abstract design. I'm not sure, this is maybe a little too abstract for me because you can't tell at all what it is. So let me dry that. Yeah, I'm not too happy with this. Yes, we can see a little bit of the leaf design if we look closely. But I think you have to know that it was a leaf design to know that. So I'm not happy with this. And it actually did go through a little bit to this side, which is strange because the thing book page didn't do that. So now I'm wondering if I should just spritz that because I'm just really not happy with this. Let's see if it will still move. Maybe not. Nope, seems like it's permanent there now. All right, well, we'll just have to go with it, or we can cover it up with something else later. I'll smoosh some on this page. I have a feeling that worked better. So this looks pretty cool when it's dry. Love all the different color variation that we have here. So I'll do that. Oh, and it didn't really go through to the other side either. Interesting, just on that copy paper. So I'll do that for the other two signatures as well. Obviously, you could do the same thing with watercolor. That would work just as well. And by the way, fun fact, I have somebody watching me. I have this cute little guy here. He was a present from Louise when I visited her. How cute is this? And he's watching me and making sure I don't goof up too badly. So in the third and final episode, we're going to assemble it all. We're going to add the fabric that we dyed today, and we're going to bind these with an open spine binding, which is a first for me as well. So that'll be fun. And we will probably add some final touches on the signatures. And of course, we need to add some ephemera as well. So hope to see you back here for that. Thanks so much. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah.